This video was really inspired by the deep dive with Ali Abdaal and Matthew Hussey that I watched like 2 days ago. So I was journaling about it heavily yesterday. I was just writing down everything that I learned, kind of like the main points of what they were talking about. So they discussed 4 stages of initial attraction. And I feel like they were mainly talking about, physical friendships and relationships. I feel like they mainly focused on dating, obviously, because like attraction, hello. But I was thinking, I have so many internet friends. Like, I kind of squished it into internet connections in my head. Because as a former internet friend girl, I'm like, this is the only thing I can compare it to. I literally have 2 physical friends and they moved out for the school year. Like, I'm literally alone in this city. I need to find a network of people because this is getting very unhealthy. Anyways, or I could just use this time to really focus and build an empire. That's like 2 options that I have. Anyways, they were discussing 4 stages of attraction, and Matthew Hussey really portrayed the 4 stages of like a healthy connection building process. The way we build connections is so screwed up. Like, we judge people off of what we see online and how that messes with our nature and our perception of reality and our, like, why we want to be friends with them, why we feel like we know this person, like all of these little interesting things. So they focus on dating and romantic relationships and friendships and real life. Why the dating scene, the dating situation is so messed up these days, because we don't understand our human nature. So imagine what happens outside of real life on the internet when you build connections, when you connect with people, when you allow yourself to experience another human being on a deeper level through communication, and you don't understand your human nature and how that goes on, the process of it. Like, imagine how lost we can get in those relationships, how unintentional and how hurtful they can be. I have people around the world that I can go into their house and sleep there because we've been talking. Like, it's quite a crazy experience. Let's just start from this. Like, I haven't seen you, and I know that if you needed like a place to stay, you could come to my house and I can come to your house. And I know your dog's name. And you know more about my week than my people that I see every day. I want this video to be about connections and relationships overall. So I'm not making this like into like romantic attraction or platonic attraction. I just want to like talk about people, how we feel attracted to people, like what makes you want to get to know someone, what makes you want to connect. And these 4 stages of attraction that they discussed, I feel like will help us become more aware of why do we feel like it's cool to be friends with that person. So understanding these 4 stages will help you build more sustainable relationships, build on it. If you understand if the intention behind it is right, like the mechanics of why you even feel like you want to get to know this person. So when you feel attracted to someone, when you feel like, oh, this is an interesting individual, again, not speaking romantically, someone's walking on the street and you're like, whoa, swag. This is like my commentary in my head immediately. It's always what catches my eye is someone's style, someone's walk, someone's confidence. Obviously the way they look, that can be a million different things. Appearance, that is initial attraction, that's perceived attraction. And that's very different in real life and on the internet, because that would be like perceived attraction, how your page looks. For example, you look through my videos and you see, okay, this is kind of a niche that she represents. This is kind of the aura that she has. This is the way that she stares at the camera. You kind of get an energy, a feel. The titles, are these the questions that you, just like surface level, kind of like a feel. This is perceived attraction. So the next aspect of attraction is perceived value. And it's so important. This is like my favorite one. What kind of value do you see in this person? This is a bit below the surface level of perceived attraction. This is the personality. This is the skills. This is the lifestyle. What do you feel like this person can bring into your life? It's mainly sometimes something that we want to have or that we already have that kind of reflects onto the other person, and you see yourself in them and you're like, this one. Someone is very eloquent, or someone is talking about God, or you want to learn something from this person because they speak in a certain way. Or for example, someone has a very interesting group of friends. In real life, you meet someone and you're like, you are so cool. Like, you have all these skater friends and I really want to learn how to skate. So this is the lifestyle and the skill that you're attracted to. This is perceived value. And it really ties itself to attraction, because I feel like it's the main thing that we notice in people. after the way they look? What can they bring us? This is where it gets tricky. Another very important stage of attraction is perceived challenge. And without perceived challenge, the whole connection, like the whole, because I'm assuming this is reciprocated. I'm assuming like people are connecting, talking, getting to know each other, right? Whether in real life or through the internet. So perceived challenge, I feel like, is the key part that kind of closes the deal. If there is no perceived challenge, which I will explain what it means in these stages, the whole thing just doesn't matter. Like, it's not going to be sustainable. It's going to be, this is what differentiates like a fling, like a surface level kind of acquaintance, and a friend, like someone that you build a relationship, a connection with, someone that you get to know and you invest yourself psychologically in their life. My voice. So one example of a perceived challenge that is actually toxic, and I haven't seen toxic, hate this word, unsustainable, unproductive. It doesn't happen in friendships for some reason. It doesn't seem to bring up as many hormones, but when it comes to getting to know someone romantically, playing hard to get can play a role of perceived challenge and work in a way that will help sustain the connection for some time, because when there is challenge, there is interest, there is attraction is prolonged, this value is more interesting when there is challenge because you have to get it. So playing hard to get will kind of make it seem like the connection is real, make it last longer. But in the end, it is unsustainable because it is something that you're playing. Playing hard to get is a very cheap way of sustaining attraction, is a very cheap perceived challenge to create. Because if attraction was built around getting something, as soon as you get it, as soon as you have access to it, it is not interesting. It's not love. That is not true friendship. That is not true connection. It's hormonal. It's emotional. It's delusional. It's unhealthy. It's immature. The fourth stage for me is connection. And I associate connection with time. I associate it with something very immeasurable, like an investment. It's almost like a leap of faith. You have to put in the work. You really have to be intentional. You really have to want to communicate it. Through a period of time, a connection is tested through equal amount of challenges and sacrifices, like on both sides. If the attraction was initially there, or a perceived challenge was the main source of attraction. Your inaccessible nature was attractive. If your mystery was attractive, or was it your actual value, your skill, lifestyle, or I don't know, style, looks, whatever you bring, or was it the mystery, So that's the part where it all kind of clears up, and when you see if it actually is a connection or no. Everything is fake. You actually do not know this person. You've never seen them move. You've never saw the aura, even if you talked on like through a camera. It is someone who is sitting on their phone. They have a designated time in their day, in their actual real life, to go on a device and connect. This is not actually real life. It's a lot more difficult to organically go through these 4 stages on the internet, even though we don't even go through them like methodically like that. Is it the word methodically? Like, we don't sit and think, okay, this is perceived attraction. We don't, like, this is not how this works. I'm just trying to break it down so we can see how we build connections, how human nature works. Anyways, listen, more difficult to understand if a connection is real, if this is a good person for you through the internet, because it seems like your value comes for free. Like, you show a lot of yourself, and when you don't show a lot of yourself, you become, you showcase the perceived challenge, intentionally or unintentionally. Like, anyways, in a fake way, there is perceived challenge, there is more mystery, there is more interest. So you get what I mean? Depending on how much you show yourself, you either attract or disconnect people from you. And that's messed up, because that was not the purpose. That's kind of like the effect of what we do on the internet. That was never the purpose, unless you are psychotic and you use everything as a dating app. Which dating apps, I get so many questions about dating apps. Don't get this desperate. Just don't. Just go outside and play. So when there is a sense that your value is free, that someone has access to you for free too quickly, and they can get like a little trailer of who you are and kind of an idea of what your life is, this is scary. That's why some people really choose to not have. I have my best friend who like is the backpacking hippie girl. She's insane. I don't even know where she is. I think in Egypt. She doesn't have social media at all. At all. I talked to her on, I was about to say Viber, but that's too much, on WhatsApp. Amazing life. We meet people mostly online. We have to be even more aware of these four stages of attraction and ask ourselves more questions. Matthew Hussey was talking about how, you know, how someone comes back from a date and they're like, this is the most amazing person I've met. They are so cool. They're insane. Like, I'm just, wow. I want to marry them, for example, you know? And literally based on what? When you meet someone for the first time, you spend a whole day with them, per se. And so when you come back home, you have this idea of like an experience of a day with someone who wants to seem like the coolest person on earth. And if the four stages of attraction are met on this one day, amazing, there is a connection, there is attraction. But why do you think they're the most amazing person for you? Ask yourself this question: what does this immediate need to give and perceive value and sacrifice your energy and open up signify? Why is it so immediate? Where are you running? What are you basing your attraction on? This one night, are you for real? Like, you haven't seen if they would be a good friend. You haven't seen how they act around certain situations. You haven't seen them in stressful scenarios. You haven't seen so many things, and you're acting crazy already. So that's a reaction that we usually experience when we try to fill voids. This intense attraction, these butterflies or whatever, is a trauma response, essentially. It's like when you get super excited around food, not because you're hungry, because you're deprived emotionally, and the food looks really good. You love this food. This food is actually really good for you. Amazing food. This is the most amazing person I've met. Based on what? What possibly could you have learned during that one day about you that would tell you this is your best friend? So imagine what happens on the internet. Like, we get incredibly invested and excited about connecting with someone. I'm talking just about my experience. Usually how I got to know most of my internet friends, most of them actually are misfits. So it was either through meeting them physically, seeing them somewhere on the internet, traveling, meeting them physically, going to a pop-up, something like that. But now, like, new people that I connect with, that are not connected to misfits, that are not like friend of a friend of a friend, I just comment, or someone comments on one of my posts. So I usually go through reels and I see someone who has incredible style, and I say something, or someone who reviews music. I have friends in like the music industry in that way. And I'm like, whoa. And they follow me back, and that then we start texting and stuff like that. Perceived attraction, then there's perceived value of a lifestyle, skill, aura, everything, and then it all clicks, and then there is connection, you know? But imagine how insanely difficult it is to actually call it a friend after not even seeing that person, not knowing how they act in actual real life situations and stressful scenarios, how they act around children. You can discuss all of that with them, ask them deep questions, but you will never actually experience it because they are not really with you. You can ask them questions about values and family, their future plans and goals. And I've actually experienced people lie to me about that. That's a whole different thing. This would make sense only if we're assuming that people tell the truth. People lie to be liked. This is me warning you. Also, this is me telling a funny story without name dropping. 2 people lied to me about being vegan for a long time during one night. So this was a very social night during London Fashion Week for me. I don't usually go out or anything. Everyone says that, but like, if you know me, you know me. I hate this shit. And so I forced myself to go out, and people were talking to me, and I was trying to get to know people in a cozy, friendly, distanced way. And so some people were trying so hard to appeal to me that when I mentioned that I was vegan, they were like, oh, I'm vegan my whole life. So, I had 2 people lie to me about their values during one night. In real life, I could feel, like I could tell. But while in real life, you can be attracted to how sympathetic they were, how you felt around them. You can kind of have a feel. But even then, a trauma response can be getting too attracted too quickly to the least amount of actual real resonance. That can happen in real life. What happens on the internet is insane. I feel like everything on the internet is a soothing mechanism. It is like a tool to self-soothe in millions of ways. We bridge that gap between getting to know them and giving them full access to who we are and perceiving their value too quickly. There's this gap, this connection stage is lost. The patience, the time, the getting to know someone, the seeing their experience, seeing how they act in real life situations is gone. That's why we have to be more intentional in communicate even more intentionally. So what I want us to get away from this video, building connections is incredible. It has to be intentional, it has to be pure, it has to be from love. And all the things that I warned you about, it doesn't mean that you have to be inherently suspicious of everyone's intentions or the words that they say or actions that they do, but building a sustainably attractive connection, not just romantic, just like where the attraction and interest and connection is still there sustainably in a healthy way, requires for you to allow the organic nature of life and time just pass and challenge this connection with equal amount of sacrifices on both sides. Through perceived challenge, the connection, so like the third and the fourth stage, through perceived challenge, the connection will be either strengthened or resolved. So you don't even have to worry. You don't have to think about these stages. I'm not giving you the 4 stages for you to analyze them anytime you want to talk to someone new. Just keep in mind that when you show up as the realist version of yourself, you expect everyone to be the realist version of themselves, but it doesn't always work this way, especially through the internet. Don't give people too much access to all of your value too soon. It's also not about devaluing the value of people that you were exposed to, either through the internet or in real life. When we're talking internet, none of these stats exist in relation to you. None of their lifestyle, money, people, skills, connections, any kind of value that they bring, any type of energy, any type of words, any type of their essence, it doesn't relate to you just yet. You don't know this person, but you have an illusion of knowing them based on like the speed of your thoughts. Why I'm saying the internet has messed up our idea of what a good person is. What is a good person to you? You don't even know. With perceived attraction, with perceived value, without perceived challenge, or with a cheap version of it, which is playing hard to get, and you get a connection that is unsustainable or not healthy or one-sided or not real, or something that just isn't even a connection. Just giving it time and like making it kind of like real life. Actually trying to be friends will show you that if the person is good for you or no. Not instantly feeling like everyone is your friend is what will help you to actually build sustainable connections.